I hate videos. Now, you may be wondering, if I hate videos, what the heck am I doing here? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you are in the world today. It is Friday, November 18th, and I'm super excited to be able to highlight a friend of mine, somebody that I met on my LinkedIn journey. So I'm really, really excited about that. And if you and I haven't met yet, my name is Ingor, and I am recognized as the networking ninja. I help entrepreneurs and manufacturers develop a LinkedIn and social media strategy so that they can stand out and connect with their ideal community. Something that my guest actually said to me recently was that even though I say this, most people don't know what I do. So, in honor of him today, let me explain a little bit. Um, what that means is I help people with optimizing their LinkedIn profiles and coaching them through getting started on this platform. I know that it's very difficult for some to get started and just get out of their own way. I'm there to hold their hand and help them navigate this space that is so unknown to them. If you're watching live, please drop us a comment and let us know where you're tuning in from. I see that there are a few comments dropping in right now, and I'm excited to be able to bring you and weave your comments into the conversation. But before I do that, let me introduce you to my awesome friend, Jamie. Good morning, Jamie.
Starting off by talking about our private conversation over dinner. Yeah, okay. So,
Thank you for being here, and thank you for that. I didn't realize that people don't really know what I do. So it's good to know, and it's good for me to be able to change what I'm doing going forward.
well,
Um,
people see what you do here, but they don't get to see your office and the wonderful work you do behind the scenes.
that's right.
So,
That's right. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And won't you please introduce yourself and let us know who you are, what you do?
who I am and what I do. Well, my name's Jamie. I'm in my early 50s. Currently working for the Canadian Coast Guard as an engine room rating. So you can think of that as an assistant to the engineer, helping to monitor the equipment and keep it running, among other things. Lifelong entrepreneur, so I've been running businesses since I was 10.
Wow.
Between businesses right now, but there's always something, there, and always some desires and some interests that may or may not turn into something that is an outlet for expression, or perhaps even just make some money, because it isn't all about the money. Sometimes it's just about the personal satisfaction.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that you said that you were an entrepreneur since you were 10. Can you tell us quickly, like, what you did at 10 years old?
Well, uh, it's actually after my first paper route. But the way the situation was, I grew up in Kitchener,
Mhm.
and you were self-employed if you were working for the Kitchener Waterloo Record. So I actually had to interview. It was my first panel interview. I interviewed for my first job at 9. Um, both my parents and the district manager, Larry Wilhelm, interviewed me over the coffee table and to see whether or not I was mature enough to take on this self-employed record carrier. And the way it worked is you were actually invoiced by the Kitchener-Waterloo Record for the papers you were supposed to deliver. You were responsible for collecting the money from your customers. Oh, wow. And you got paid extra for the inserts that you were supposed to deliver for the weekly flyers. But you ran your own business, and within a few years, I was running my own promotions.
Wow.
So, going to the people that on the route, the houses that you end up walking by, going and knocking on the door and said, like, you got a promotion going on. If you pay for 2 months, you get the third month free. And that's Jeez. How it started.
That's very enterprising, actually.
Within a few years of that, I was getting paid to mow lawns in the neighborhood and rake leaves, as many young ones do. But I actually loved it so much that in 2003, that's what I decided to do full time.
Wow!
So I went into property maintenance and landscaping, and left the corporate world for a bit in 2003.
I'm sure it must have felt like, woo!
Yeah, having done it though, having done it and having watched the industry, because, you don't have to always be in an industry. You can watch an industry. You can see how it develops, how it changes, and really learn from just being on the outside and watching. And I'd always loved it. So if you love something, why wouldn't you want to get paid for it? It really comes down to that. And having had the business knowledge, writing a business plan, and I actually had help with the transition support as I was leaving the corporate world because of a downsizing and an acquisition. And you write the business plan, you execute the business plan as many businesses do. And doing something you love really helps, right? It gives you the motivation to keep going, because when you go to work, even in those early days when it's not paying the bills, if you love it, you can keep doing it. Mm-hmm. And you can do it with a smile, and that makes a big difference to customers as well.
Yes, it does. There was a time when I was in customer service, and we were taught when I went on a training course, and we were taught that, even if it's just over the phone, someone can tell whether you're smiling or not. And it's true.
Yep, absolutely.
Because it alters even your pace of speaking, your tone of voice, right? So awesome. Thank you. Let's go and say hello to our studio audience. Oh my gosh. Good morning. Good afternoon to you, Raven. She's tuning in from Cape Town, South Africa, and it's afternoon there. We are 7 hours behind them. So nice to see you here. Thank you for popping in. Woohoo! Good morning.
Yeah, okay.
Good morning and happy Friday to my awesome sister, Katie. She says she's tuning in from cold, white, and snowy Wisconsin. Oh my God, it's crazy.
This is early for snow.
It is. Did you guys get snow, by the way?
We've had some dustings. So, an inch, it melts by 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. So nothing horrible yet. Have thought about getting the snow brush out and putting on some windshield wipers that will make it through the winter.
Yeah, it's actually in Toronto we've had some snow, and even now the rooftops are white.
Yeah.
So yes, it hasn't been like heavy snow. I remember when I first came to Canada, I was so excited because I'd never seen snow before. So there was a little bit of snow, and my husband says, "That's not snow." I'm like, Yes, it is. It's white. And he says, no, you'll know when it snows. That's flurries. So, thank you to you, Whitney. Whitney says, if you're having issues with the live stream, here's the link to the live on YouTube. Thank you. Yes, LinkedIn Live has been having issues on and off for a couple of weeks, actually. So, if you need to, you can shift over to YouTube and watch from there. Please, again, if you're watching live, drop us a comment and let us know where you're tuning in from. Whitney has moved over to YouTube and she's tuned in as 𝐓𝐿𝐾 Inc. She says, good morning from Sugarland, Texas.
Nice.
I love reading that. It's so awesome. And Katie says, thank you, Whitney. And she says, hello again, Jamie. Oh, what art are you working on today?
Oh, which way do we have to lean? That guy over there.
The tiger?
Yeah.
I love it.
Pretty well finished the face, but I'm wanting some depth for the rest of them.
I love it. If you've shown me this before, but the eyes just wow, they look so real. And if you are watching and you don't know this, look at what's behind Jamie. Jamie, can you explain a little bit about what's behind you?
Well, I've always wanted a drawing table, and at the start of COVID, we were all locked into rooms unexpectedly. I was still running the landscaping business at the time, and so actually was prevented from going to work. So despite the fact that I worked outside, um, mostly by myself, and mowing people's lawns, so there had to be zero interaction. The Ontario government prevented us from working. I wasn't on the exception list, and couldn't risk the fines that they were handing out. And so I found the desk I had always wanted on Kijiji. And so I will lean out of the way. But it's an articulating table, so this will come up as well. And my preferred medium is colored pencil. Been doing it since I was very young. And so I made myself a little track to go around the table and to hold my 300 pencils. Well, let's get.
Wow. That is awesome. It's awesome. I remember when I first saw this, I was like, wow. I know my daughter would love the stand for the pencils. Like, it's amazing. Wow.
So yeah, I mean, you can use it for. It's got a nice ledge that will hold a canvas or whatever, but you can actually put it up to, I think it's 90 degrees, 85 degrees, somewhere in that, so that you can almost go straight up with it.
Nice.
There's a couple of different settings for it, but yeah, I put it up a couple of notches and have a light board there as well that I can do some light tracing first on a picture or even through photo paper.
Nice.
It's bright enough and big enough at A2 size. So it's yeah.
Awesome.
But I tend to focus on larger pieces of paper. I don't know why. I know some people use smaller paper for their artwork, but I've always preferred to use the larger paper.
I like larger because I feel like you can see so much more detail with it, right?
Yeah.
So here, Gail says, "Oh, Canada, a bit chilly here, but looks like some hotness here in comments." Oh my gosh! Yes, Raven is from South Africa, so it's hot there. Awesome, thank you. Gail is in Windsor, Ontario.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like maybe we'll be sailing by there sometime this winter.
Yeah. She's the most curious person I know, and her title is it's apt. She calls herself the Chief Curiosity Officer, and she really is. So, and I see some networking happening in the comments. Nice. Gail says Kitchener, a fellow Canuck.
Yep, born and raised. Yep, not there currently, but yeah, born and raised there.
Nice. And Whitney says that's amazing. Way to go, Jamie. Awesome. Okay, guys. If you haven't heard of the word Ubuntu, it is part of who I am as a person, but it's also part of my intro video. And let me give you the definition. I want to display it on my screen. So, Ubuntu is an ancient African word meaning humanity to others. It is often described as reminding us that I am what I am because of who we all are. And the short version is I am because we are. I fully embrace this principle, and it is part of my life because I truly believe that because of Gail, I'm more curious. Because of Osama, I'm stronger. Because of Aya, I'm more positive. So, Jamie, you've also influenced what I do. You saw that at the beginning of this show, and this is why I chose to highlight you because you're part of me. You and I recently met in person, and it was kind of crazy, wasn't it? Because taking it from online to in person, it was like you know each other, but you don't know each other, kind of.
Well, I was quite honestly shocked when I got in the truck, and it's like we've been talking for 3.5 hours. I think we should have ordered more food.
Right?
We had to pay them extra for that table, but yeah, no, I was shocked. We talked for 3.5 hours.
Oh my gosh, it was awesome. Okay, since this is inspiration from Ingor, let's go to the inspiration part. Um, won't you please share with us what inspires you?
Oh, that's a tough one. Um, I would say personal growth, learning. Um,
Mm.
we can look externally for a lot of things. We can have role models and mentors. Um, we can enjoy things like hobbies, but personal growth needs to inspire you.
Mm.
Learning new things needs to you need to be able to motivate yourself. Um, and yeah, you can look at something external to do that. But what happens if that external stimulus goes away or changes? And many times we see that happening over time. So, you can think of it like, people enjoy golf, and some of them do it because they like the competition. They can't golf without betting with the person that they're golfing with. But my dad used to go out golfing by himself. It was him against the ball and him against the club, and ultimately that's you against self. Only you can improve your game. Only you can keep your head in the game. He used to go out and just drop a bucket of balls on the ground, but then he would go out and put those buckets of balls out in front of him, and he would chip into the buckets. That's how he learned, and that's what he found challenging, and he got very good at it. He's one of the only people that I've ever golfed with that can use a 1 iron and hit it very, very well. I mean, we see pros doing it, but instead of pulling out a driver, he'd pull out a 1 iron, and he had no problem just smacking it across the lake, which I had the pleasure
Wow.
of seeing him do. Dog leg right, and instead of going around like everybody else, he just went over.
Jeez.
So yeah, like when you can find something internal that inspires you, it'll
Mm.
keep you motivated.
Mm.
in those times where nothing else externally will. Um,
Wow.
you know, and the drawing is like that. It's me against the pencil and the paper, um, trying to get what is up here down in front of me, and in a way that um, creates a challenge, but also produces something that I like in the end.
Mm. Nice. I hmm. I've had so many of my friends that I've spoken to on this platform speak about growth. Um, and it's if you look back on your life, I think all of us can identify a period of time where we have been stagnant. You know, getting up, getting ready for work, going to work, coming home, going to sleep, then getting up the next day and doing it all over again. We've done it. I've done it. But you don't feel alive when you do.
It's
Just feel it feels mechanical, right?
Yeah.
Um, a friend of mine actually, Robert Johnson, he shared this quote with me, and I'll share it with you. It's by Steve D. Sims, and it says, "If you're not growing, you're dying." So,
Yeah.
thank you for that. Um, Next question. I think, of course, we can, throughout our lives, we can identify a role model as we go, right?
Yeah.
But who was your role model when you were growing up, and why?
Yeah, it's true. We have a lot of people that we can look back on. I grew up and I had a lot of teachers on the street, that, like, literally on the street, that I grew up on. So directly across the street was a teacher, a professor. Beside him, an electronics engineer. Beside him, a very, very good and prominent salesman, car salesman. Millwrights, construction workers. My dad was a sheet metal technician, mechanic. There was a bell technician down the street. So I had a lot of great teachers that were able to share knowledge with me locally on my street as I was growing up. If I ever had a question, I would go down and knock on the door and ask these older individuals, 30, 40 years my senior, um, and find answers. But true role model, my dad, my mom, of course, are incredible influencers on my journey. But also very much my uncle. And if I had to narrow it down to one person, yeah, it was my uncle. An entrepreneur. He had a huge heart. Um, Always eager to learn, and share his knowledge. Yeah.
Nice. Can you tell us of a particular instance where he kind of inspired you?
Well, he always did. He knew me very well. So you know, he gave me a tiny little book on how to play chess, and I mean tiny, like 20 pages long. What the pieces were, how they moved, and some basic strategy. And then we started playing, and I started playing with other kids in the area, and so he started me on my journey through chess, because he knew enough about me to know that I was really going to enjoy the strategy, um, but also the one-on-one companionship you establish with your partners, and even strangers. You develop a rapport over the chess game, over the hour long that you play. Um, but we spent a lot of time just talking, and it was usually while we were playing chess, or he would join us, the family, when we went camping many times, and um, we were always the last ones to go to bed. We'd always be sitting around the fire until there was quite literally nothing left, and we just talked. And he he always encouraged me to think, ask really good questions, um, and to think about giving the right answer to questions. Because you can blurt out what you're thinking, but if you don't take the time, especially when there can be an awkward pause, so ignore the awkward pause. Think about what you want to say, and make sure you're saying it the way you need to say it, and how you truly feel about it. But yeah, he was always very encouraging with his conversations, usually in the late middle of the morning.
He sounds like a very wise man. Just let's touch on the awkward pause. Many of us are afraid of that, actually. We're afraid of the silence, but silence doesn't have to be negative. There's actually a saying that goes, silence is golden,
Yep.
right? And my brothers used to say that to me when I would talk to them, when I would speak to them about, more like reprimanding because I was the older sister.
Mm-hmm.
They would say, "Oh, silence is golden, Inga." But it's true. Like we want to fill it instead of embrace it. And yeah, um, I don't know. For me, it's actually an opportune time to really just sit in that and embrace what was said before, right? Not necessarily something to run from. So awesome. Um, so a while back, I was asked to be on somebody's show, and this was before I had my own. And I remember he provided me with the questions because I was extremely nervous.
I don't know what that feels like.
Yeah, I was extremely nervous, and he provided me with these questions that he was going to ask me. And the interview didn't actually last that long. I think it was about 15 to 20 minutes. But I promise you, I was, wow, like I felt like I wanted to throw up before the show. Um, and it was live on LinkedIn and YouTube. And he asked me, one of the questions he asked me was, what is your life statement? And I remember when he sent me the questions, I was like, I don't know, like what is my life statement? So I had to really think on what it is that drives me, what it is that really inspires me to step out of my comfort zone. Um, and the conclusion I came to was it's people. So it's people and my love for people, right? Like if you know me, you know I love people. I love to hear their stories. I love just connecting with them on a less than superficial level. So my life statement is to positively impact the lives of others. What's yours?
um, all credit goes to my uncle for this one, actually. And assuming I can ever actually finish writing the little thing that you've asked me to write, it's I'm making progress on it. Um, I guess it's not one simple statement. It's a couple of statements thrown together, but they're relatively short, and they're all similar in nature. He taught me a great number of things, and from that, I've encapsulated it down to show up in life, do the very, very best at whatever you choose to do, make a difference in people's lives, and be remembered.
Damn. Like I said, your uncle was a wise man.
Very wise. Yeah. So the words are my own, but
Yeah.
over and it's 26 years, I think, a couple months ago that since He's passed.
Mm.
But I still remember our conversations. Like I still remember the chess games and the camaraderie that I had with him
Mm.
um, growing up, and the fact that I loved spending time with him. Um, and the second one, do the very best at whatever you choose to do, isn't be the best. It's do the best.
Yeah.
And those are very different,
Yes.
especially in terms of how you approach them, um, but also in the satisfaction you get out of it. So you can be doing something that you do not want to do,
Mm-hmm.
but do your best.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually got to see that, on my last tour. We were doing a job that was not fun, and the materials that we were using uh, weren't the ideal for the job that we were doing. But I did it like any other thing I do. I did my very best, because I chose to. I chose to do my very best,
Yes.
um, and that's the way to go through life: doing your best, not being the best, but
Yes.
doing your best.
Doing your best regardless of what it is that you're doing. Whether it's being a parent, a spouse, a friend, a chef, or somebody that's cleaning, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of what you do your best. I love that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. Let's see what people are saying, and then we can go back. Mortiza Gassimi. Hello to you. Thank you for tuning in. Um, I don't actually recognize the name, but thank you for being here. Can you let us know where you're tuning in from, please? And we have Chris Solomon's. This is my dad, and my mom. They're tuning in from East London, South Africa. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Um, so Jamie, let's, the topic for today is the power of networking. I'm glad that we got to know you a little bit, but let's move on to the networking part because it's very interesting. Through conversations with you and also through posts, I've gotten to know a little bit about your approach, and I think it's interesting. So, can you share with us what is your take on networking? How do you approach it?
Well, those are very two different questions, aren't they? Um, well, life is networking. We make a difference in people's lives,
Mm,
even strangers. If you walk down the street, you walk by a complete stranger, and you smile, you've
yes.
already made a difference in someone's life. You don't have to say anything, but by having humanity within us, as we go through life,
Mm,
we truly do make a difference in people's lives, and we're remembered for those beautiful things. And networking is like that, whether it be networking in business, in social areas, in hobbies. Each of those are networking groups, and they don't have to be mutually exclusive.
mm,
So, one of the things that I've learned through LinkedIn and through different podcasts is when you're looking for a job, don't don't restrict yourself to the business networking side, because it's likely the hobby side or the fishing side, you know, it's going to be those other networking groups that have a pulse where you want to go, because they're the ones that share your interests, right? So they're going to have, it's the 6 degrees of freedom, right? The bigger your network is, the more likely you are to find your happy place in your home. Um, how I've done networking, I mean, I've done the corporate networking. I used to be involved in junior achievement, Toastmasters back when I was in high school for their youth leadership program. University was 𝐓𝐡𝐞 which is a worldwide organization for students in economics and commerce. LinkedIn is kind of my focus right now for networking. And I'm not monetizing it. I'm networking for enjoyment, because there's a lot of things you can enjoy in meeting people and sharing information and knowledge. But it's also a wonderful learning experience. And I'm meeting people like you, which I would have met if it wasn't for a platform like LinkedIn. My journey is a little bit different. I'm not after, a huge number of connections and a huge number of followers. But, so I have 350 connections, is the number that LinkedIn will show you. It's actually less than that, because of the ones that have either blocked or aren't even on LinkedIn anymore. But my life statement comes in here on LinkedIn: make a difference in people's lives and be remembered. And so when I interact with people's posts, it's because their post resonates with me. So they've taken the time to make a post, and if it resonates with me, they're going to get a response. It doesn't matter whether they're a stranger or a LinkedIn influencer. I'm connected with people that have 80,000-90,000 connections, or I guess followers, as the connection number I think is limited to 30,000 or something strange. But these individuals recognize me when my name pops up, and I try to keep my comments genuine, and a sharing of information. And that's, to me, what networking is all about, is being remembered for who you are, for what you can do, for what you can accomplish, for what you have accomplished, and helping others on a journey. And yeah, maybe if the chance comes upon, they can return the favor for you.
I love it. The whole point for me about continuing this topic, which is the power of networking, and I've been speaking on it for a long time, and with different individuals. And the reason why I do that is because I want people to see that networking is not cookie cutter. It doesn't have to be done like Jamie does it, or it doesn't have to be done like I do it. You can find your own way. You can find a way that works for you and make it your own, really. You can look at what Jamie does and adopt some of his principles of the way that he does it, and adapt to your personality too, right? It doesn't have to be about do it like this, right?
And there's a lot of people that try to do I'm going to call it the algorithm formula.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people saying, hey, this works with the algorithm. This is what you need to do to be successful here on LinkedIn. And invariably what I see, and it's not, sometimes it's temporary, but those are sometimes the same individuals that step back and say, I've had to take 3 months off because I was burnt out. Or, I've had a really bad day. Things haven't gone my way, or the algorithm changed. They're forcing it, and it needs to be more personal. Networking is you and someone else. And how do you do that on a large scale?
Yeah.
But keep it very, very personal. We used to network in a room, and sometimes it was a glass of water or around a round table, or sometimes it was a wine and cheese. But we used to network in person, and we are not truly built to network technologically. The human, I mean, yes, we have the technology. Yes, we can utilize the technology. But more and more, I see people trying to meet again in real life and networking in real life, shaking hands, catching a smile and a handshake. Some are doing technology ways of sharing business cards and trading like technical information that they need to share during their networking. But we are social people, and we can have an outlet through networking. But if you're not taking it to that next level, and while you're in North York saying, "Hey, can I stop in Toronto to meet you?" You're not taking it to that next level. Whether it be online, one-on-one, private Zoom meetings, phone calls, a text chat. I mean, take it to that next level. Make it more personal. Yeah, you can use the large streamings to reach an audience, but take it down to a personal level.
Yep. Like, how do I follow that? Like, that is so true. Um, it's all about developing that personal relationship. That's why, for me, when somebody approaches me that I don't know, to say, "Hey, I'd like to be on your show," I'm not interested, because I'm able to have a good conversation with you on my show because I can have a good conversation with you, right? So for me, it's all about the relationship, developing that relationship first
Yeah.
before we take it to my show. This is not where you're going to come and get famous. It's really, no, for me, I want to highlight you, and I want to introduce my friends to you, and you to you know what I mean? Like, so you're my friend and they're my friends, and I want you guys to know each other, because I see your heart and I see their hearts, and I know that for me, it's about heart to heart connection. That's it.
Well, and I see that in the comments, right?
Yeah.
I don't believe I'm connected, and I keep telling myself I know everybody, but as the number gets up, it's getting harder to know it top of line.
Yeah.
But there's been comments about what's your latest drawing project. It's like, yeah, I don't think I'm connected. Maybe we should be, but that is so cool that they know me for my drawing,
Yeah.
right? Because I only post occasionally. I'm not a once a day poster. I'm not a twice a day poster.
Yeah.
I post every 6-7 weeks. Am I unsuccessful on LinkedIn? Perhaps from an algorithm perspective, but when I get 5,000, views of my content and 100 interactions, I've got 350 connections. That's, from an algorithm standpoint, that ratio is fabulous, and I'm happy with
Yes.
that.
Yes. And um, let's just go back to what you said about being unsuccessful on LinkedIn. I don't believe so, because if you really think about it, the whole point of LinkedIn is to be LinkedIn,
Yep.
right? It's all about connection. And let me go back to what you said at the beginning about a smile. Um, I I remember going from high school to university, and I knew a few people at my university, but not a lot, of course. But something that really impacted me was I would be walking down the hall, and someone that I didn't know would smile at me and say hello, and that really made me feel welcome. I was a first year student when that happened, and it made me think that I could reciprocate, right?
Yep.
Even though I was shy, because I'm naturally an introvert, but really I was able to take that and implement it too, and help others to feel welcome. Zig Ziglar once said, simple smile, a cheerful hello, or a word of encouragement. It's amazing what an impact you will have.
So very true.
Yeah. Um, you may have covered this already, but if you can stipulate for us, how has networking impacted you?
Um, there's a simple enjoyment in having interaction with people, whether it be in person or online. And for many of us, myself included, the last 2 years has by necessity required more interaction with people online. And so I've met people that I would never have met from all across the globe. There's people in my network circle that I want to visit. It's going to give me the motivation to travel, um, which I wouldn't necessarily have had on my own to go to some of these places for short, and long periods of time. I've had some great phone conversations. I've tried some great products um, that I've purchased because of people I've met on LinkedIn. Um, and the journey is only just beginning, as many journeys do. And I was a judge this past year for the Freshies from Fresh Perspective Resourcing in the UK, and they hold an awards ceremony for charity, and they recognize different businesses. And this past year, I was able to be a judge um, for businesses that I don't see, don't get to walk into a store, um, but was able to genuinely give them feedback and and help another company that has been making a difference in people's lives in a different and fresh way of recruiting. So Fresh Perspective Resourcing is one of those companies and individuals that I am connected with on LinkedIn, and they're making a difference. And by supporting them through my networking, I'm helping them make a difference. And they're across the globe, right? They're 8 hours difference in time frame. That means nothing on LinkedIn. Um, it could be a business down the street. I mean, I'm for supporting local, but we have this technology available that allows us to support people making a difference worldwide. And you mentioned the positivity freak herself, and yeah, I said to her a year ago and got a weird response, but that she didn't know me, right? And it's like, you know what? If I'm ever in Egypt, are you going to show me around? It was on the bucket list before, but now I know someone there, and there's people I know in Ireland. I've always wanted to go to Ireland, and no, I not wanting to put people under pressure, right? But this is what networking is about, right? Having the face to face. It's a dinner. It's a walk around town. Show me some sights in your city. That would be amazing. And that's part of my LinkedIn journey, is to find people that I can share some personal time with, electronically, and then hopefully in person, like we did 2 weeks ago on Monday.
Awesome. Yes, it was amazing to just meet you in person and get to put the real face, not the one on screen, right? Like IRL.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So let's just go to the comments and then we can wrap it up with our final thoughts. Oh. Oh. Whitney says, how sweet that your parents are tuning in.
Yeah, that is sweet.
Muhammad says, hi Jamie.
Oh,
He's tuning in from Bangladesh. So nice to see you, Mohammed. Thank you for being here. Um, any final thoughts for our audience?
Um, show up in life, do the very best at whatever you choose to do, make a difference in people's lives, and be remembered.
I love that.
And
I
if that specific wording doesn't work for you, make it your own. Find your own why. You know, do what you need to do to make yourself happy and to explore the journey that we have, and we can have that journey together. Even if it's just walking for a short time before we branch off in our different ways.
love it. Thank you. And where can people find you if they'd like to connect, Jamie?
LinkedIn. Just here.
Yeah.
Um, I had an Instagram account canceled on me while I was on ship last tour.
Sure.
Somehow I managed to, and I don't know how I managed to violate their guidelines, but I got a notification saying I had violated their guidelines. And for some reason, they make you jump through hoops to validate who you are. So, it started off with the phone number, and then it was the email address, and then record a short video with your hands, your login and this security passcode. And it was just like, you know what? I'm on ship. I spent 75 out of 90 days on ship. Yeah, I'm not jumping through hoops to support your platform. And so they made it difficult. And I don't have any intention of going back. So just LinkedIn.
I don't blame you. Um, yeah. Yeah, no. No. How about no?
Well, I talked to someone and they said, are you sure it's not a scam? Right? I mean, you've given them your phone number now, your email address. Now they're asking for a selfie with your login and a special passcode. And it's just like, you Google it and it's like, yeah, apparently this is their process. But yeah, I don't have time to jump through hoops to support your platform.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Katie says, I would love to meet you, Katie, in person. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine? I don't think we would sleep. We would just be sitting up chatting, probably drinking wine. Katie's part of a wine club.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and she was the instigator for this wine club. But it's awesome. And she says, oh my gosh, though LinkedIn is being a brat lately too. Yeah, with lives, yes, LinkedIn has been terrible. Many people report watching and then it just keeps looping
Yep.
in one segment. Yeah, I don't know why. And Whitney says for real. Katie says lots of wine. Yeah. As you know, I have a very refined palate when it comes to wine. I I don't like anything tart. It has to be sweet, actually, and flavored if I can have it.
Okay.
Yeah, they make an awesome wine. I think it's Girls' Night Out.
Yeah, 𝐏𝐏𝐿 Estates Winery.
Okay.
No, it's Girls' Night Out, but it's done by 𝐏𝐿, 𝐶𝐿𝐿,
Sweet.
and been a favorite of mine for decades.
Awesome.
The new branding. It's obviously I'm not in the target market. Their premium used to be CEV, 𝐏𝐿 Estates Vineyards, and it was a beautiful wine. It's a beautiful winery. Younger group as well,
Yeah.
hence the new branding. But yeah, 𝐏𝐿 is definitely one that I still very much enjoy.
Yeah, so I'll tell you quickly what my favorites are. I enjoy there's one that's strawberry and kiwi. And the other one is mango and pineapple.
Well, why not?
Yeah. If it doesn't taste good, why should I drink it? Come on. Anyway, thank you, Jamie. This has been awesome. Oh my gosh. Listen, let me just go to the comments. Katie's like, refined. You call that refined? Yes, it's refined. And Whitney says, how funny that you'll have the same taste in wine. Oh my gosh. Katie says, I love apothic wines. I haven't found one I don't like yet, though. I will never put a Moscato in my mouth. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's been awesome. I'm so glad that you lost your mind and came and visited me on the dark side on live. Um Always happy to connect with you and really learn from you, Jamie. You're amazing. And I saw that since we've been connected. So thank you.
Nice improvement on your intro as well.
Yes. I need to refine it. I need to refine it for sure because this is the first time I've been live since you and I spoke.
Yep.
But yeah, I will. I will. I'll definitely do that. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Yep.
And all the best with your next tour going next Wednesday.
Next
Um,
Wednesday.
I really hope you get to see Quebec City. Beautiful place.
Well, a crew change is starting there, so you never know. It's a ways, it's a distance from here. So I suppose there's a possibility that I'll be going in Tuesday instead of Wednesday, and that'll give me at least a few hours to see it before we set sail to wherever we're going.
Nice. And Whitney says, nice to meet you, Jamie.
Nice meeting you too.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you to you if you're still watching. Jamie, I'll send you to the green room as I wrap up. Please
All right.
wait for me. I'd love to just wrap up our conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you if you're still watching. Happy to spend this time with you, and it's been an honor and a privilege. I'm wishing you a blessed Friday and weekend ahead, and I'll see you back here for next week's episode of Inspiration from 𝐓𝐿𝐴. Just a quick nod to our friends at Island Spices, a Toronto-based mom and pop restaurant. Thank you for your support and your love over the year. Know that we appreciate you and everything that you do. And if you're ever in Toronto and want to check out their food, please let me know and I'll be happy to introduce you. Thank you also to our friends at Kindness Inspired. You guys are amazing, inspiring kindness all over the world. Thank you for that. And if you're ever interested in checking out their merch, please do so. You can just Google them, Kindness Inspired, and it'll come up. Um, Thank you to you. I will be signing off, and I'll see you back here next week for another episode of Inspiration from 𝐓𝐴. Take care. Be blessed. See you soon.